Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears to some of the travails and trepidations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this is a very interesting and devastating story coming straight out of Vietnam. And it is a fraud case that has led a woman, a billionaire tycoon, to be sentenced to death. So let's go. What to know about the real estate tycoon sentenced to death in Vietnam's largest fraud case. A Vietnamese real estate tycoon was sentenced to death Thursday in the country's biggest ever financial fraud case, a shocking development in an intensifying anti-corruption drive in the Southeast Asian nation. Truong My Lan, a high-profile businesswoman who chaired a sprawling company that developed luxury apartments, hotels, offices, and shopping malls, was arrested in 2022. The 67-year-old has been convicted for fraud amounting to $12.5 billion, nearly 3% of the country's 2022 GDP, and for illegally controlling a major bank and allowing loans that resulted in losses of $27 billion, state media outlets reported. So who is Truong My Lan? Lan was born in 1956 and started out helping sell cosmetics with her mother, a Chinese entrepreneur, in Ho Chi Minh City's oldest market, according to state media outlet Tien Phong. She and her family established the Von Thin Fat Company in 1992, when Vietnam shed its state-run economy in favor of a more market-oriented one that was open to foreigners. Over the years, VTP, which is Von Thin Fat, grew to become one of Vietnam's richest real estate firms. Today, the company is linked to some of Ho Chi Minh's most valuable downtown properties, including the glittery 39-story Times Square Saigon, the 5-star Windsor Plaza Hotel, the 37-story Capitol Place office building, and the 5-star Sherwood Residence Hotel, where Lan lived until her arrest. Lan met her husband, Hong Kong investor Eric Chu Nap Key, in 1992. He was sentenced in this fraud case to 9 years in prison. They have 2 children. So what is she accused of? Ms. Lan was involved in the 2011 merger of the beleaguered Saigon Joint Commercial Bank, or SCB, with 2 other lenders in a plan coordinated by Vietnam's central bank. She is accused of using the bank as her cash cow, illegally controlling it between 2012 to 2022, and using thousands of ghost companies in Vietnam and abroad to give loans to herself and her allies, according to government documents. The loans resulted in losses of $27 billion, state media VN Express reported. She was accused of paying bribes to government officials, including a former central official who has been sentenced to life in prison for taking $5.2 million in bribes and violating bank regulations. According to government documents, the court sentenced Ms. Lan to death, saying her actions not only violate the property management rights of individuals, but also pushed SCB into a state of special control, eroding people's trust in the leadership of the Communist Party and state. So why is this happening now? Lan's arrest in October 2022 is among the most high profile in a growing anti-corruption drive in Vietnam. Weeks after her trial started in early March, former President Vo Van Thong resigned after being implicated in the so-called Blazing Furnace anti-graft campaign conducted by Communist Party General Secretary Nguyen Phu Truong, the country's most powerful politician since the campaign began in 2013. The 73-year-old ideologue views corruption as a grave threat facing the party and has vowed that the campaign will be a blazing furnace where no one is untouchable. While Lan's arrest and the scale of her fraud shocked the nation, the case also raised questions about whether other banks or businesses had engaged in similar practices, dampening Vietnam's economic outlook and making foreign investors jittery. This is happening as Vietnam tries to argue its case for being an ideal home for businesses trying to move away from neighboring China. Wow, what an incredible case. This makes me think all the way back to 2008 when we had the financial and real estate crisis that just about or damn near bankrupt America. The financial crisis, the real estate boom, bang, and how not only in the real estate market of 2008, but also it teetered and it had the real estate debacle had a symbiotic relationship with banking and financing. So the banking institutions like Bank of America, also Wall Street, there were plenty of individuals, and this is during Barack Obama's administration, where writing bad loans, passing bad paper, and we had a real estate bubble, and it exploded. However, nobody during Obama's administration went to jail from Wall Street. Many of his Ivy League colleagues. Bank of America got help and restored at the taxpayer's expense, and not one CEO, CFO, upper level corporate oligarchy in Wall Street, on Wall Street, or in the banking arena or the real estate arena went to jail. This shows you a very avid case of there are many advantages to living in America. Vietnam has sentenced this young lady to death. She's in her 60s. And as a result of her fraud case, she's 67 years old, and as a result of her fraud case, it nearly cost 3% of the country's 2022 GDP, gross domestic product. That is a lot and a heavy burden that was placed on and has been placed on the Vietnam financial markets. But as a result of it, and through her conviction, and the reason this story is so astonishing is that she didn't kill anybody. There was no physical harm perpetrated, and they sentenced her to death as if she murdered an entire country. I guess that's the way they look at it as far as this fraud case and what it did to their financial market. But we've had egregious behavior with Bernie Madoff. He had been alleged to have stolen or fraudulently garnered over $30 billion. He got sentenced to life in jail, but I've never heard a story of somebody being sentenced to death. And just when you think America is not the place for you and it's not the land of the free, try living in some of these other countries and look at what this result. This Vietnamese billionaire is being sentenced to death for a fraud case. What an incredible an unfortunate story for the Vietnamese and for this young lady and the victims at large.